She came home looking too clean. You'd think it's a compliment. It's not. Not when your wife sells homes for a living and walks in from an afternoon showing looking like she just stepped out of a spa, makeup fresh, hair perfect, even her perfume somehow stronger than when she left. It didn't make sense. And when things stop making sense, you start noticing everything. Her name's Claire. We've been married 9 years. One daughter, Emma, 7, and a life we built out of routines. Breakfast was eggs and toast. Weekends were for Emma's soccer. Evenings, wine for her. Iced tea for me, something half-watched on Netflix. Simple, quiet, familiar. And then, slowly, she started drifting. Not in a dramatic way. No fights. No slamming doors. Just little things. The smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The phone that never left her hand. The silence in the car that used to be filled with humming. Claire's a realtor. Good one. Stylish, fast-talking, organized. People trust her fast. She started working more, evening showings, weekend open houses, off-the-record tours for high-end buyers. I didn't question it. That was her world. But then came the night she got home after 10. I was folding laundry on the couch when I heard the garage door. She walked in wearing heels I hadn't seen before. Black, glossy, expensive-looking. New client, she said, before I asked. Fashion photographer. Super picky. Took forever. I nodded. But her story didn't line up with the outfit. Her top was low-cut. Lipstick too red. She looked amazing. But not like someone who was just showing square footage. She looked like someone who had just come back from a date. The next week, she forgot to sign Emma's permission slip for the zoo. Claire. The woman who used to pack snacks in color-coded Tupperware and write, "Good luck," peanut, in lunch bags. That morning, she barely looked up from her phone. Sorry, babe. Been swamped. But her eyes stayed locked on her screen. I glanced over her shoulder. A message thread. The last one said, "Still thinking about yesterday. You looked incredible in that kitchen." I didn't see the name. She clicked it away too fast. I didn't say a word. Just grabbed my coffee and added it to the mental folder I was building in the back of my head. The signs kept stacking. She started using words she'd never used before. Energy. Alignment. Magnetic connection. Not about me. Never about me. One night, I came into the bedroom and saw her smiling at her phone. Not the kind of smile you give your husband. The kind that softens your whole face. She noticed me. Flinched. Emma's teacher sent something funny. She flipped her phone over and turned off the light. I lay there in the dark wondering why a second-grade teacher would text her at 11:27 p.m. I started checking things. The calendar. The shared Google account. Old emails. I didn't want to become that guy. The suspicious husband with a paranoia complex. But it's amazing what you find when you start scratching the surface. Unlabeled appointments. Showings in neighborhoods she never mentioned. A gas receipt from a town 45 minutes away, on a day she said she worked from home. I remember one afternoon in early spring. I left work early. Surprised Claire at an open house she said she was hosting solo. I walked in through the side gate. Quietly. From the kitchen, I heard her voice. Laughing. Too hard. Too relaxed. Then another voice, male, said, "God, you're dangerous in heels." Silence. Then a whisper I couldn't make out. I waited a beat. Stepped around the corner like I'd just arrived. Her eyes widened for a second. Just a second. Then the smile kicked in. "Hey, babe. What are you doing here?" "Was in the area," I said. Thought I'd see the famous Claire in action. The man stood to the side, sipping bottled water like he owned the place. His name was Cole. She introduced us like it was nothing. He's shadowing me today. New guy at the agency. Cole. Trim haircut. Tan. Watch too nice for a rookie. He shook my hand with a grin that held just a hint too much confidence. "You've got a great one here," he said, nodding at Claire. "Yeah," I replied. "I know." That night, she was all over me. Wine poured before I asked. Music on. Kissed me like she remembered something. But it didn't feel right. It felt like a performance. Like she was kissing me to erase something else. I started waking up earlier than her. Watching. Tracking. Not obsessively. Quietly. Patiently. Because if she was hiding something. I needed to be sure. Not for confrontation. But for clarity. I didn't know then that the homes she showed were where she was breaking ours. But I could feel it coming. Like standing in a house right before the walls crack. And the foundation gives way. You don't realize how much noise a person makes until they start hiding. Claire had gotten too quiet. Too light-footed at home. Too careful when closing doors. too smooth when answering questions. Her lies weren't messy, they were rehearsed. That was the part that got me. She'd had practice. I stopped trusting my own thoughts. So I started trusting her actions instead. I checked the mileage on her car. Too high for the places she said she went. I checked our bank statements. Too low, she always used cash now. I found a small charge at a gas station near Oakbin Ridge, a neighborhood with half-finished homes and driveways full of gravel. Claire had no listings out there. So I drove out myself one day, middle of a Wednesday. I took the afternoon off. And there it was, her car, parked on a slope in front of a house with a coming soon sign. No open house. No balloons. Just her car. And his. That white Jeep with tinted windows I'd seen once before at her office, late one night, when she forgot I was picking her up. I didn't go to the door. I didn't knock. I just sat. Waited. 10 minutes. 20. At 33 minutes, they came out. One after the other. Claire first, fixing her hair, not realizing it was already perfect. Then Cole, grinning like he just won something. They didn't hold hands. Didn't kiss. But they didn't have to. Her body leaned into him without touching. That was worse. That was intimate. That was real. That night, she came home carrying a plastic folder of fake buyer documents. Slid them onto the counter like it meant something. Long day, she said. Didn't even get an offer. I poured myself a drink. Didn't respond. She tilted her head. Everything okay? I nodded. But I looked her dead in the eyes when I said, yeah, just tired of pretending. Her smile faltered, just a crack. But it was there. She knew. She just didn't know how much I knew. Yet, the next day, I checked the shared cloud folder we used for work receipts. She had accidentally synced her camera roll. There was a photo. A bathroom mirror selfie. Her, in one of those half-built houses. Same top I saw on her Tuesday night. Behind her, a reflection of someone sitting on the edge of the tub. Legs spread. Shirtless. His face wasn't visible. But I didn't need it to be. I recognized the necklace he always wore. Cole. I didn't say anything for days. I couldn't. Emma had a school recital. Claire baked brownies. We smiled, clapped, took pictures. Then went home and slept inches apart like strangers. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't always explode. Sometimes, it just leaks. Slowly. Quietly. Until everything is soaked. She left her phone on the couch one night. Charging. Unlocked. She was upstairs in the shower. I shouldn't have touched it. But I did. Text thread. Cole. Left the window open again. Feels like you. Claire. It still smells like your cologne. Cole. Next time, I'm not letting you leave. Claire. Next time, we're staying the whole night. I couldn't breathe. Not out of shock. Out of clarity. Everything I had felt, the silence, the coldness, the wrongness, it wasn't in my head. It was real. It had a name. A schedule. A body. She came downstairs later and curled up next to me like nothing happened. Rested her head on my shoulder. Whispered, I missed you today. I turned to her. And for the first time in our marriage, I lied without flinching. I missed you too. She started folding clothes she didn't wear. Not the usual stuff, not laundry, not Emma's pajamas. I'm talking about those, just in case, outfits. A scarf she hadn't touched in 2 winters. A pair of silk heels she once said were too loud for daytime. Her old leather jacket, the one with the broken zipper she refused to fix. She wasn't packing to leave. She was preparing to. At first, I didn't get it. I thought maybe she was decluttering. Early spring cleaning. But deep down, I knew. You don't fold clothes that carefully unless you're deciding where you'll wear them next. And it's not home. Claire hadn't said the words yet, but her body had. Her voice was quieter. Her movement smoother. Like she was already somewhere else, mentally packed and emotionally halfway out the door. The only reason she hadn't left yet was Emma. And me? I'd stopped being a husband weeks ago. I was just a checkpoint. A figure in the background of her exit strategy. One afternoon, she left her phone on the kitchen counter, screen unlocked. That never happened. She was in the bathroom. The water was running. I didn't mean to look. I really didn't. But it vibrated and instinct made me glance. A message preview popped up. Cole, you still smell like me. I didn't tap it. Didn't scroll. I didn't need to. The words hit harder than a picture ever could. And the fact she hadn't deleted it yet? That told me everything. The next day, she said she had a late showing out near Oakbin Ridge. That was the 3rd time in 2 weeks. And Oakbin Ridge wasn't a regular listing area. It was remote. New builds. Still half empty. Quiet. Too quiet. So I followed her. Again. From 2 blocks away, parked behind a tree line near one of the unlisted cul-de-sacs, I watched her pull into a driveway I'd seen before. Same house. Same tour. 10 minutes later, he arrived. Cole. Same white Jeep. Same cocky swagger. No paperwork. No clients. Just him and a key code. She opened the door for him like she'd done it 100 times. No hesitation. No looking over her shoulder. That stung worse than the messages. Because that kind of comfort? That kind of familiarity? It doesn't happen overnight. I watched for a full hour. Lights turned on upstairs. Then off. No one else came. Until a different car showed up. A silver Lexus. A woman stepped out. Late 50s maybe. Blonde, tailored coat, clipboard in hand, clearly a real client. She walked up the front steps, hesitated, checked her phone, then knocked. No answer. She rang the bell. Still nothing. Then she peeked through the window. She must have seen something, because she took a full step back like the glass had burned her. Her face changed, confusion to disbelief. She looked around, muttered something under her breath, then turned and left. That's when it hit me. Claire wasn't the only woman Cole had invited to this house. Not the first. Probably not the second. Maybe not even the only one this week. That night, Claire came home with a half-empty coffee and the scent of someone else's cologne clinging to her sleeves. I didn't mention the woman. Didn't mention the Lexus. Didn't mention how she didn't answer Emma's call while she was busy. She leaned in to kiss me. I turned slightly. Let her lips land on my cheek. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. You. Just tired. That made 2 of us. I didn't sleep that night. I sat up replaying it all in my head. Every glance, every excuse, every cold shoulder wrapped in a smile. She thought she was being careful. But the thing about careful liars is, they forget the ones they're lying to still watch. The next morning, she was quiet. Too quiet. She barely touched her breakfast. Burned the toast. Left her coffee on the counter. Then around 10 a.m., she disappeared upstairs with her laptop. An hour later, she came down, pale, lips tight, eyes focused, like someone rehearsing something difficult. She stood there, watching me. What? I asked. Nothing, she said. Just thinking. I almost told her I knew. Almost asked her if the house she just showed still smelled like him. But I didn't. Because I knew she wasn't done yet. And part of me wanted her to hang herself with the last piece of rope. That evening, she got a call. She stepped outside to take it, like always. I followed, quietly, stopping just before the porch screen. I couldn't hear the whole conversation, but one part caught crystal clear. No, I haven't told him yet, but I'm going to. I have to. I can't live like this. A pause. Then a whisper. You're the one I want. You've always been the one. She said it like she meant it. Like she believed every word. Except the next day. She stayed in bed late. Didn't call anyone. Didn't leave for a showing. She looked at Emma like she hadn't seen her in a week. And when she sat next to me on the couch that night, she reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. But I didn't squeeze it back, either. Later that week, I got curious. I searched Cole online. Nothing unusual at first. Socials locked down. Generic profile on the company site. But then I found something buried on a private agent review board. Someone had posted anonymously. If your wife's a client and your home's on the market, maybe be there for the showing. Just saying. Another comment. Watch out for the rookie with charm. He tours houses with more than one kind of pitch. Then one that froze me. 3 women. Same guy. Same properties. Different outcomes. It was dated 2 months ago. Claire wasn't the first. And I had a feeling she wouldn't be the last. She rehearsed the speech for days. I saw it in the way she paused before entering her room. How her fingers tapped her wine glass at dinner. The way she looked at me across the couch, like she was bracing herself for an ending. She thought I didn't know. But I knew. Not just about Cole. About the plan. The lie. The exit. She was building a soft landing. For herself. Not for me. Not for Emma. Just her. That Sunday night, she left the laptop open on the kitchen island. It was small. Subtle. But the document was still on screen. The title read, Things I Need to Say. Bullet points. Short sentences. Cold truths wrapped in careful language. I've changed. I didn't mean to hurt you. This isn't your fault. It wasn't supposed to happen. I think I love someone else. I didn't touch the laptop. Didn't close the screen. Just sat at the table, staring at it like it was the last piece of the life we built together. That night, I didn't sleep. Neither did she. I could hear her pacing in the hallway, opening the closet, closing it, then again, and again. At one point, I saw her staring at the front door, hand on the knob, waiting for the courage to leave. It didn't come. The next morning, she was gone before sunrise. No goodbye. Just an empty coffee mug in the sink and the faint smell of her perfume in the hallway. I didn't chase her. Didn't call. I waited. It was 10:34 a.m. when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then came a text. You need to see this. Now. It's about Claire. No name. No context. But I had a feeling. I drove straight to the real estate office. I wasn't ready for what I saw. The lobby was buzzing. People whispering in corners. Phones out. Brows furrowed. I stepped inside and everything stopped. Claire was standing near the main desk. Arms crossed. Face pale. Cole was across from her. Smirking. Like this was funny. You told her I promised you what? He said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Claire's mouth opened, but no sound came. You said I was leaving my wife? That I'd start over with you? He laughed. Not kindly. Not nervously. Cruel. And then he turned to the room. Does anyone here believe that? Seriously. No one answered. They didn't need to. Claire's face said everything. This wasn't a breakup. This was a public execution. Apparently, she had finally told him she was leaving her husband. And instead of taking her hand and running off into the fantasy she built, he flipped the script. Said he barely knew her. Said it was just stress relief. Said he had no idea she was serious. And just like that, her illusion shattered. Not quietly. Not behind closed doors. In the middle of her job. Her coworkers. Her future. She looked around the room, searching for someone to defend her. To say something. And that's when her boss stepped out of his office. Only it wasn't just her boss. It was Cole's father-in-law. The owner of the agency. The room went silent again. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Cole, he said, calmly. My office. Now. Cole's smirk dropped. Claire didn't move. Her hands were shaking. The moment stretched into a kind of slow, cinematic pain. Then her boss turned to her. Claire, take the rest of the week off. That was it. No comfort. No support. Just distance. She walked out into the parking lot like a ghost. Didn't notice me at first. Then she saw me. Frozen. Eyes wide. And for the first time since this all started, she looked ashamed. You came, she said, barely above a whisper. Yeah, I replied. Not sure why. She opened her mouth to explain, but I held up a hand. Don't. She nodded slowly. I was going to tell you. Today. Before. You weren't, I said flatly. You were hoping he'd save you. She flinched. I didn't think it would go like this. You mean the part where your boyfriend humiliated you in front of your coworkers? She looked down, then back up, eyes glassy, voice cracking. I don't have anyone left. That was the moment. That was when she thought I'd say something comforting. Offer a ride. A hug. A lifeline. Instead, I said, you still have Emma. Let's not ruin that too. And I turned around. Left her standing in the parking lot. Alone. I didn't go home right away. I drove. Nowhere in particular. Just needed to clear my head. But I kept hearing her voice. I don't have anyone left. It wasn't guilt. It was grief. Because the man she thought would catch her when she jumped had already moved on. And the one she betrayed was done holding the net. Claire went quiet after that last conversation. Not the guilty kind of quiet. Not the manipulative silence meant to earn sympathy. A different kind. The kind you only hear from people who've hit the bottom and don't know what's supposed to come next. She stopped going to work. Stopped brushing her hair some mornings. Once, I found her sitting in the hallway, still in the same clothes from the day before, scrolling through her email like she was searching for an escape hatch that didn't exist. I didn't say much. Not because I didn't care anymore, but because I honestly didn't know how to speak to her without burning the bridge completely. She had already done enough damage. The affair. The lies. The betrayal. But now, something worse had crept in. Fear. She was terrified. Of Cole. Of what he might do. Of what he might reveal. Of what he might become now that his golden boy life had been ripped out from under him. And even though I hated her for what she did, I couldn't hate her enough to let her face that alone. It started with small things. A dead bird on the porch. No note. Just the body. Claire found it before Emma did. Then came the emails. Blank subject lines. Just a single sentence each time. I saw you. They don't forget. You'll lose more. She blocked him, changed her number. But that didn't stop the burner phones, or the envelope we found in the mailbox 2 nights later. Inside, a printed photo of her and Cole, taken from the inside of one of the model homes. She was laughing. His hand was on her waist. She looked happy. Too happy. Claire stared at it for a long time. Then, very quietly, she said, "I never even knew he was taking pictures. I had a decision to make. Do I stay out of it? Let karma run its course? Or do I step in, one last time, to protect the woman who tore me apart?" It wasn't a heroic choice. It was a human one. Because despite everything, Claire was still Emma's mother. And no matter how much I wanted to erase the past, I couldn't let our daughter grow up watching her mom unravel. I called a lawyer friend, asked what I could legally do if the harassment escalated. He gave me a few steps, then added, "You might want to start documenting everything. If he's desperate, things could get ugly." Ugly didn't take long. 3 days later, someone slashed Claire's tires. In broad daylight, while the car was parked outside her therapist's office. Security footage caught the back of someone in a hoodie, face turned away, but the posture, the walk. I knew it was him. Claire sat on the edge of the bathtub that night, holding her head in her hands. "I don't know what he wants," she whispered. "Power," I said, "and the satisfaction of knowing you're scared." She nodded. Didn't cry. Didn't plead. Just nodded like someone who finally understood they'd built their escape tunnel straight into a war zone. That weekend, she stood in front of me, hands shaking, and said, "I'm going to the police. And I'm going to give them everything." "Even the other women?" "Yes. And what about the agency? Let them fire me. I'm done hiding." That moment, it didn't fix anything between us. But it did something else. It made me respect her again, just a little. For finally owning it. For finally choosing truth over fantasy. The police took her statement. They took mine, too. We gave them the photos, the letters, the video clip of him driving past the house 3 times in one night. An order of protection was filed. But everyone knows those are just paper until someone crosses the line. It wasn't over, but it was starting to end. Claire slowly began to come back to life. She got a new job, lower pay, smaller firm, but honest work. She made Emma's lunch every morning, picked her up from school herself, said yes when Emma asked to bake cookies on a random Tuesday. She still slept in the guest room. I still kept my distance. But something had shifted. We weren't rebuilding, but we were coexisting. And for now, that was enough. One night, I came home to find Claire sitting outside on the porch. She was holding the same photo Cole had mailed her, the one from the house. Only now, she had torn it in half. I sat beside her. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. She handed me one half, kept the other for herself. And together, we watched the pieces curl in the flame of a cheap backyard lighter. I don't know what comes next. Maybe we stay like this, strangers under the same roof, raising a daughter we both adore. Maybe we eventually divorce, split the furniture, and move on. Maybe one day, we sit down like adults and talk about how 2 people who once promised forever lost each other in plain sight. I don't know, but I do know this. She didn't deserve me, but I still didn't want to watch her burn. It's been a year, one full cycle of seasons since everything fell apart. I no longer count time in days since the betrayal. Now I count in moments that feel real again. The house is quieter these days. Not heavy quiet. Not resentful quiet. Just calm. Claire still lives here. We talked about splitting up. We talked about staying married for Emma. But in the end, we chose something messier and more honest. A truce. Not a restart. Not a second chance. Just 2 people, learning how to live with the truth. Emma is 9 now. She's grown faster than either of us expected. Maybe because we taught her, without meaning to, what heartbreak looks like. But also what rebuilding looks like. She still draws pictures of all 3 of us together. Still laughs too loud at movies. Still asks why mommy and daddy don't sleep in the same bed anymore. And we just say, because we love each other differently now. It's not a lie. It's just not the love she thinks it is. Claire's different now. She goes to therapy every Tuesday. She works at a smaller agency, with no Cole, no toxic ladder to climb. She makes Emma breakfast every morning. And she hasn't touched a drop of wine in 7 months. She's not trying to win me back. And that's how I know she's actually changing. As for me, I took a sabbatical from my firm 6 months ago. Packed a bag. Rented a cabin outside of Sedona. Spent 2 weeks doing nothing but hiking, journaling, and listening to myself think. For the first time in years, I heard my own voice louder than everyone else's. It didn't sound angry. It sounded free. One morning in Sedona, I met someone. Not in a romantic way. She was reading the same book I was, sitting 2 tables away at a cafe. We got to talking. Her name was Elise. Divorced. 2 kids. Graphic designer. She wasn't Claire. And that's exactly what made it feel light. We didn't fall in love. Didn't make any promises. But she reminded me that I was still a man who could connect. Who could laugh without guilt. Who could be seen without being used. Before I left, she handed me a folded piece of paper. Inside, 1 line. You don't have to stay broken just because someone left you cracked. I carry it in my wallet. Still, Claire asked me once, recently, do you think we could have made it if none of that had happened? I thought about it for a long time. Then I said, no, I think we were already falling apart. Cole just gave it a name. She nodded. Didn't cry. Didn't argue. We just sat there, sipping coffee, watching Emma chase butterflies in the yard. I haven't forgiven Claire. Not really. But I've stopped blaming her for everything. She was selfish. She was reckless. She was a coward. But I let myself fade, too. I made myself invisible in my own marriage. And now I know better. These days, I write more. Paint a little. Coach Emma's soccer team when I can. I still live in the same house. Same driveway. Same kitchen. Same quiet porch. But nothing's the same. Because I'm not. And I like that.